Welcome to Unpacking.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Naya. Once a couple.
Now I'm coupled. And as you possibly can tell, we're still friends
Yes.
and doing life as co parents. And yeah, we're here to just unpack our journey and talk about our relationship, things we learned along the way. And today, we're going to learn why we are no longer together. So brace yourselves, buckle up. Let's have to unpack this.
Okay, so let me help. I'm the questioner.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know what's going to come out. So I'm trying to get what I need in this conversation.
Yeah.
So we talked about happiness in previous episode.
Mhm.
We talked about the happiness started to erode.
Mhm.
And you asked me, are you happy? I asked you, are you happy? Right? I do remember very poignantly times when you're like, I'm just not happy.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
When did you start to realize that? Like,
Mm.
and I don't think it's 2019.
No, I think it was, and I think,
And what was your reaction to that? Because I think when you realize you're not happy, gray is just not my area. That was very difficult for me because I'm like, when it's not like I was the type of girl that wasn't being pursued by multiple people, but when you lock it down, hey, I'm married, for me, it just meant like, I am not talking to you, period. Right? So these other things don't compute for me. Like, I just didn't understand. And like I said, I had trust. So I was just like, well, maybe he's just going through a season. Maybe this, not having a job is taking a heavy toll on him. And there were some other family things happening. And I was just hoping and hoping. And that's all I had was hope. And like, I mean, we're making good money, right? Like, okay, yeah, you were like exploring your photography more, but what else? Maybe Indiana, both of us combined in Washington, we're not making, right? So we're making like good money. Um, and it was just like
yeah,
my I felt ugly, physically, like not being seen, which it's a very literal thing. Like you walk in the room and you know that you're not seen. Like that erases whatever years of emotional work you've done to be like, I'm a goddess, I'm a queen. like that is it. All that work is like a pivotal moment that can just go from here to, and you get that repeatedly and repeatedly to where if you were saying you're pursuing me, I don't believe it. Like, you know, yeah.
yeah,
So that cycle just persisted.
yeah. And like I said again, it's not something I'm proud of. Um, I hate that it happened like that because the last thing I would ever wanted to do is to hurt you. And it's yeah, it was just messed up. Um, and that's essentially what spiraled to the point where it was like unsalvageable because at that point the your trust in me is broken, and I know myself like I didn't want to break those relationships up, you know. So um, like uh, there was no point at which we'd come to common ground. So then it became very much a an exercise in futility, to the extent that like because I don't want to stop doing the thing that you want me to stop doing, right? So you're not coming to a point of agreement there. But then I also was in my classic avoidance mode where I don't want to deal with it. I want things to just be in have some semblance of normalcy.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess the period that we're talking about now is a period that I was really kind of like, I don't really know what's going on.
Mm.
I just know it's not
Mm.
working.
Mm.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
No, it's not working.
Yeah. And that I think that went on through like 2018, 2019, I think is when it just came to a head. And then 2020 is when we went into counseling. And I think for me,
It came to a head, meaning what? Like, you see.
like by the time your mom pulled me aside to talk to me, um, I I mean I remember vividly that December, um, where we were doing like all these family pictures and stuff, and I remember just feeling so disconnected from you doing those pictures. Like I don't even like to look at those pictures because they just remind me of a time when there's a lot of pain between us, and there was no. I mean, the chemistry was not there. Um, we're doing pictures because we had paid a photographer and we're doing pictures. You know? But I think it came to a head in that, like, okay, uh, something needs to give. Something's got to give because for your mom to pull me aside, she saw it.
Well, I spoke to her.
But yeah, I think she'd have probably seen it anyway. Um,
Because mom had always asked me, she's like, this Makuletis, when he travels like that, are you sure that he's okay? I'm like, he's okay. He's fine. He has to travel. That's his job.
Mm.
Then she's like, this is photos that he posts like this. He posts everybody, all these different women. He never posts you. Why? Do I know? Can you not ask him? Is he not your child? Ask him. But like, I guess 2016, 2017, like those are the things that everyone knows he's a photographer. But he did not post pictures of me or the kids. Now you could say it was internet privacy or safety or whatever. But then, you're kind of like, like birthday, anniversary. Those are the common, like put it on your story,
Mm.
do something. Mm. Like, why is he? Mom's big thing was like, he literally left the house, traveled by himself, and goes and takes pictures of himself by himself and posts them like he's a single man. I'm like, Mom, it's his craft.
Anyway, this is the first time I'm hearing some of these convos that happened.
His craft. I kept defending you like this is he needs an outlet because you know how I am, like all over the place. So let him go and breathe fresh air in middle of nowhere, rock, Arizona.
Yeah.
Wherever he needs to
Yeah.
go, if that will give him some semblance of joy,
Mm.
to explore his craft and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had in 2020 19, was it earlier that year or 2018?
Mm-hmm.
I flew to Ohio. I went to Ohio to spend time with my mom, but and my intention was to talk to her about what was going on because I had it. I was just like I don't know what to do, blah blah blah. But then as I'm there getting ready to talk to her, my cousin passed away. It's just that joy,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So not a good
Mm-hmm.
time
Yeah. Yeah.
to say, oh, I know
Mm-hmm.
this happened, but I also have problems. No, it was not the time. So I'm just glad I was there when that happened because that was her person, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my cousin. So we all had to grieve through
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know, and then um, the challenge with things like this is having that. I feel like a part of the reason why I'm so bitter, so angry, is I really, for as much as I feel, you know, like educated, involved,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the tools.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the questions to ask. I didn't know how to dig, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like now, when I see a couple, I can ask.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're my friend, you know I don't go up. I am like deep, like hello, hi, okay, now let's talk. Like we don't mess around. Um, that's my signature.
Yeah.
and and for even being a person, and I've kind of generally been like that, but for even being a person like that, I didn't know how to break through to this. Now, there were those things that you were saying on the previous episodes, like culturally, um, based on our um, systemic
Mm-hmm.
Christian
Mm-hmm.
beliefs. You know, there is hope
Mm-hmm.
that you're holding on to. There is the fear and disdain of divorce. And then there is the whole therapy. Um, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust Christian counselors, even though I was going to school to be one, right? I was just like, this is really, it challenged my faith. It challenged um, a lot of relationships, just, and it challenged the knowledge of who I was. Like, so I really struggled. I'm still working through a lot of that, um, just redefining my belief system, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, or reevaluating and redefining
Mm-hmm.
in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, we talked about this is me, y'all. Okay. Uh, um, nurturing other relationships. So this persisted, persisted, and persisted. Was this throughout? Like, was there ever guilt? Was there ever
Mm.
like
Oh yeah.
what type of
Yeah.
feelings did you have in this process?
Yeah. I mean, it was very hard to navigate through because on one hand, like I want to be this faithful man, this good husband, this good father. On the other hand, I can't shake the thought that man, these relationships are doing something for me. Like, I I have connections and
Was it that they were doing something for you that you were not getting in our relationship?
maybe I guess so. But then I often ask myself, is it uh, because I didn't ask you for that? So that's a question that came to mind
Give
because
an
we never.
example. Like we need to bring this thing down.
I I mean I can't think of any specific thing because it's listen.
Listen,
it's
Linda,
it's
you're gonna be like we 10 years of marriage down the drain for something I don't know.
No, no, that's not what it is.
Okay. So, give me an
So,
example. You can't get through. I'm strong these days.
um, I honestly, I'm struggling with that one because it's hard to pinpoint a specific emotional need because not like you didn't used to hear me. It's not like you didn't understand my family dynamic. It's not like you didn't understand uh, my challenges and struggles. You know,
Yes.
pause.
Um, when I fell on the stairs, I think I moved the bone inside my finger.
Come right through.
I can't get my middle finger past this point right now.
You mean to open it?
No, to close it. I can't get it past this point.
Do the other one.
The other one is fine. It's just this one.
Can you stretch it? Can you open? And then bend again.
Does it hurt when you stretch it?
Bend again.
I can only keep it like this or this. I think I moved the bone in my finger. Do I have to get surgery?
Yeah, we're gonna need to transplant another finger from.
Bring it. I don't know. Let me see.
Maybe we're gonna have to get like a.
Does look a little swollen,
Let me see.
but you just may need ice.
Which one is it? Okay, show me that one.
This one.
So when you hit the stairs, how did you hit it? Was it like head on like this? Huh? Yeah. Okay. When I used to play basketball, the ball used to hit my finger all the time. It's called a spike. We used to call it a spike finger. So the ball hits you like this, and it gets swollen here, and you can't really bend it all the way.
Because of the swelling.
Yeah. So
When it swells, it tightens this skin around here. But when it goes down, it will release it. So when you have tight clothes, it's hard to walk, right? But when you have clothes that fit, you can walk. So it's kind of the same thing. Your skin is now acting like a tight cloth here. And then when it will go down, it will feel better. So maybe can you put a little bit of, take a paper towel, put some ice on it, just press on it a bit. Okay? Just that.
How long does it usually take for it to go back to?
A day or two, maybe.
So if tomorrow is still hurting a lot and the next day, then we'll go to the doctor. Okay?
Would I have to get surgery?
After pluck the finger.
Don't listen to me.
No, you don't need to. But it used to happen all my fingers I've had that, all of them. And I'm fine.
All of them?
All at one point or another in my basketball career.
Not your standards falling career.
My stairs, yes. I didn't have a stairs falling career. And I reserve that for special people like you. Only special people like you have stair falling careers. Okay, but it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, put some ice in a cup.
Yeah,
Just take
put it
that.
in my cup.
Dip your finger.
Yeah. Grab one of those cups or container like maybe your Minecraft cup up there.
Mm-hmm. Just like stir your finger in it every now and then.
Yeah. And then just keep the finger moving, okay? You see the way you're trying to bend it?
That's good.
Yeah. And it's not broken. If it was broken, you'd not even be able to.
Yeah, you'll not be talking here.
Yeah. Get the stool here, Chief. No. Get the stool.
See?
With the cup in your cup. What's that? Yeah. Okay. Get you some ice.
Open the thing.
Well, that thing doesn't work.
It's broken.
2 days, like nice. It doesn't. That one's spider.
It's like
You all done the spider. Break it up.
honey.
Bring them to.
It's good. Okay.
That what? Off you go.
Sure.
Could you pause the video?
Mm-hmm. Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, is this one been going the whole time?
Oh no, I unvideoed it.
Okay, go back to the video. Press the camera button. Is it on video now? It's recording. It's a red button. Sure. A round red thing. What? Huh? You have to press the round red button to record.
It's recording. The numbers are going up.
So what do you see now? A play and a pause button. Okay, good. All right, buddy. Your finger will be fine, okay? All right, we're back. Yes, so I don't know that maybe I can characterize it as like it's really hard to think of an example because I don't think there's a particular thing that they were doing that you are not doing or couldn't do. I think it's more the combination of I can talk to this person about that particular aspect or someone else about something else. Um, and they were not all, they were all very deep. Some were, had morphed into romantic and sexual. And um, I think we'd gotten to a point where we're sharing basically sexual texts. And I felt like I couldn't do that with you. And I was at that point um, too ashamed to even do that. And so it was a really a combination of that. I'm already able to talk to girl A about this and that, yeah, and girl B about this and whatnot. So I felt like among all of them, because none of them was again in isolation enough for me emotionally, and so uh, and they all kind of didn't know of each other's existence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in the same way that I tried to keep them hidden from you, I kept them separate from each other. Right? And I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And but because by that point I was deep in those relationships, but also very ashamed because it would not have been the first time that I would have um, cheated. I was too ashamed to, and it got to a point where it was a combination of, it gets to a point where I was ashamed to the point where I'm like, okay, this is too far gone now. I'll just continue with it. I'll just, you know, like to hell with whatever happens, you know. And then by the time 2018, 2019 rolled around, that was the state of mind I was in. It was like, you know, uh, in Kiswahili, they say, come on by and by. It's like, you know, too bad. Whatever, excuse me, whatever may be like, you know, I kind of got into a mindset of, I guess, if I look at it now in hindsight, callousness, um, but not carelessness, because I was still determined to keep things hidden from you, even though I didn't do a very good job of that.
Yeah.
Um,
But callousness is it spills over. Like you may think that
mm,
um and those were the key signs to me was the callousness. It was like, and I think I've said this before, like you're like, you know, you care about people deeply, you want to help people. Those are some of the good characteristics about you. But because you had gone so far in,
mm,
you couldn't see
mm,
what I was suffering,
mm,
right? So I remember very poignantly there was a friend of yours who was going through some terrible trauma, and you're here in the United States, you're helping her find a therapist, you're ensuring that she gets to the therapist, like whether it's transportation, and you're doing all these things to show care for someone, and I don't know if you met her or not.
mm,
And I'm like, I am here in this house dying. Like literally, my body was working against me.
mm,
Headache after headache after headache.
mm,
Like, and you would not put that same effort
mm,
into ensuring that I'm
mm,
okay.
mm,
That's when I was just like,
mm,
what are we doing?
mm,
And it's not to ruffle any old feathers. It's the fact that some you may think that it's a callousness towards yourself or towards an ideology, but that spills over because when you're married to someone, it's it's an agreement.
mm,
Whether you want to look at it in spiritual terms or not, it's an agreement, and certain parts were violated,
mm,
right? And so it just erases some of the very intimate parts of it, you know?
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I wasn't proud of it. I hated it. I hated being that guy because I'd never imagined that guy, you know. And so when we went into therapy, and I also started just doing a lot of. I don't think I'd done much self reflection up to that point, like real deep and honest with myself. Like look in the mirror, and look at yourself, and who are you? Why are you like this? And what are you doing? And those kind of questions to myself. And I think between a combination of that, the therapy, and just research, I think um, that's when I first came across um, the term polyamory. And I don't know where it was already to. I don't know if it was maybe one of us because you'd still send me like you'd send me links like check this out, check this YouTube or whatever, this book or article, and I read about that word and something about it. The more I dug into what is polyamory, because I knew polygamy. My grandpa, that is polygamous, had 3 wives. You met him, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was very familiar with polygamy. one of my colleagues at my previous job had four, and she was looking for fifth. So polygamy is a common thing uh, in Kenya. I don't know if it's like that in Canada.
Yeah, and my grandfather also had multiple wives.
Right, right.
On both sides.
Mm.
Yeah. My
Mm.
mom and my
Mhm.
mom's dad,
Mhm.
father's
Mm.
father as well.
Right. And so I was familiar
And a number of my aunts
Mm.
actually were in polygamous marriages.
marriages. Okay. Yeah. So it was familiar to me. I had been in that kind of family setup, even though extended family. But polyamory uh, resonated with me because um, one of the foundational elements of it is a desire for deep connection. And as soon as I read that, that grabbed me. I was like, okay, I want to know more. So I started learning more and looking at my my past and a past that I was not proud of, a past that had led us to this down this path. Um, but when I looked at, like I was saying at the beginning, all the relationships, the dating relationships, or what do they call it now? Dating is called what? Whatever, whatever people call it now. Like when we start to date someone,
That's talking.
talking.
Talking is
Okay,
dating is commit is like
courting.
courting. Well,
See.
I don't know. It's
Okay. Right. Like when you're pursuing a more or less exclusive
Yeah, exclusive relationship is dating.
with someone. Okay. All right. So I hope that
And then
calibrates
courting
people.
is towards marriage.
Right. Yeah. So courting is like after you've been engaged, to be engaged. Is engagement still a thing? I
Yes.
don't know. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
People get engaged.
All right. So when I then did like a back in time thing and looked at the timeline of all the relationships I had been in and uh, people I had been talking to, dating in my old. I'm gonna use dating because that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the comments if you don't understand. If you will respond. But yeah, dating makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
There was always more than one person at the same time, except for. I mean, even when I met you, there were people, but I think at the point when we made a decision, and I remember going through my phone and deleting some numbers. And I was very deliberate about that because I was very serious about you. And I didn't want anything to jeopardize that. And I wanted to show you how serious I was. But the more I read about polyamory, the more I understood that that desire for connection, that intimacy with multiple people, and it's not. I mean, people don't understand. Intimacy is not sex; they're not the same. Intimacy is a depth of connection and a building of trust and of commitment that you have to someone. Um, and the more I read about it, the more it resonated with me, and the more when I looked at a snapshot of my past, how it fitted with that definition. Uh, and so I think at some point in that period, I'm like, oh snap! Uh, I think I'm polyamorous. I think that is the problem. That's been the issue all along, is because I've wanted all these multiple connections. I didn't want them to end. Uh, and the thing I struggled with was that I was always this, I was the good boy. I was always this, I was the church boy. I was the choir boy. I was the altar boy. I was, um, you know, uh, I was the prefect in school, the head boy. Like my path had always been, this is Mr. Goody Two Shoes. This is the guy who will, he's always on the straight and narrow. and will always do the right thing, and can almost do no wrong. The way some of my family members treated me was like, wow, like I was the paradigm of being a good child, right? And then you come into the church setting, and there's this again, uh, not that I was put on a pedestal, but your path is almost very set. You're you join a ministry. Um, for those who don't go to church, that means like a group within the church. Um, yes. So in a nutshell, uh, that is me.
There you go.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. I know a lot of people will have a lot of questions and comments and things to say. So you know,
Okay, so now that you've come to this realization,
mhm,
it's been a couple of years.
mhm.
How has that helped you, or how are you navigating this,
Mhm.
and what it looks like?
Yeah. So one thing it has given me is freedom, and the freedom is coming from the fact that now I have accepted myself. I felt like,
So you feel that there's that, if I understand, uh, you're wired to have intimate connections with multiple people.
correct.
Okay. And if you're not having those, what does that mean to you?
If I'm not having those connections,
Yeah. So,
then
must you have them?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And if you don't, what happens?
Uh, I feel um, I don't know about goals as far as say empty, but I feel like something is missing.
Have you ever been where you didn't have multiple connections? Intimate.
Uh, no, no, I've done again. Yeah, and back to initial question is how does that work for me? So first of all, again, and a lot of people misunderstand what polyamory is, and there's been a range of characterizations from just that's just a fancy name for your player, or you just uh, just a fancy way of yeah doing infidelity and all this kind of stuff. But that's a very one-dimensional and shallow characterization, because it is a valid relationship dynamic. And the difference between polyamory and polygamy, for those who don't know, is that polyamory is where I would have multiple um, relationships which are intimate and deep, and those people would also have their own relationships, deep and intimate, with however many people. And
Are you
when
aware of the relationships?
yes, yes, that's foundational to it is that openness and honesty of yeah, I'm with you, but I'm not only with you.
Mhm.
And she in turn told me, yeah, I'm with you, but not only with you, I'm seeing other people. Um, and that doesn't really exist in a infidelity thing or like a cheating scenario, right? It's because the whole thing about cheating is that you're sneaking around, you're not being honest about the fact that you have other relationships.
Mhm.
The thing that a lot of people don't understand about polyamory, and which Unfortunately, not everyone will or will agree with it, but that's it's what it is. Um, there's a big difference between being committed and being exclusive, and people conflict those two. So, let me give you an example. Someone would say to me when I say, "Oh, I'm polyamorous," often the first thing I hear is, "Oh, so you're afraid of commitment," and that's not true. uh, I'm committed to all the people I'm in relationship with. Doesn't mean that I'm going to spend all the time because I'm one person. Uh, they are multiple, and they also have their people that they're spending time with, right? Ideally, in a polyamorous relationship. Um, but that doesn't mean that I cannot be committed to them. The same way you can have one analogy that maybe I can think of is we have two kids. We're committed equally to both. We're not exclusive, you know. So it's possible to commit to someone fully, but not be only committed to that person. Yeah. And the other thing is that
Well, what does commitment mean?
commitment means like you you dedicate time, effort, resources of various types to care for this person, to take care of their well-being, to be there, to be a listening ear, to be um, spend time with them, um, talk, do whatever, um, and you ultimately are looking to make sure that they feel whole, they feel seen, they feel uh, like they can be successful in whatever it is they want to do, and that they can be happy. You're not the source of happiness, but you are a source of happiness and a safe place they can share and all that. So everything that you are committing to in a monogamous relationship as a spouse can happen in polyamory.
Do polyamory people get married?
Yes, yes,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they do. They do get married. Not all of them want to be in that in a married relationship type dynamic, but they do. Um, and uh, because of often because of the laws of the land, even though they may want to marry more than one person, like I said before,
Mhm.
the societal rules and laws don't allow that legally. So I've seen cases where a couple is polyamorous and they want to, maybe it's a man and a woman, and they want to bring in another woman as a second wife, and and so um, I remember one particular case where this woman that they both met and wanted to bring into the relationship lived abroad, lived in a different country. And so what happened? So this guy had to divorce his American wife and then marry this woman so that she could come in as his wife, and they all kind of cohabited. And this, and each of them, like, I think one of the wives also had another partner. So it's not defined strictly in the bounds of marriage, but it is a marriage type relationship. So yeah, in short, it does happen, and it's common. I mean, for me, one of the things that I think also changed and shifted in my mind is marriage and what marriage is, and what marriage has been packaged as for us, as generally as human beings. And it's been a committed, exclusive, monogamous relationship, lifelong. And you can be in a polyamorous, lifelong relationship in the same way. Uh, and again, the just like in monogamy, where trust is key and honesty is key. In polyamory, it's even more so because now we're dealing with multiple people, multiple sets of emotions, multiple sets of dynamics, because those people are with other people, you know. Uh, so in true polyamory, honesty is the key. If there's no honesty, then people are doing something else. It's whatever you want to call it, to sort of label them and slap on it. That's not polyamory. Yeah, and it it's not for everyone, and a lot of people just won't ever understand it. And I think I've come to just be in that place where I'm okay with people not understanding it because I understand it for myself. If I go into a relationship, I put that front and center right at the beginning now because I don't want someone to be under any illusion about who I am and how I'm wired. And that part of wiring is very important because I think you have to be. I don't think it's a switch that you can switch on and off and say, okay, this year I'm going to be pajamas. Because one of the other things that the maybe second most common thing I hear when I say someone that I'm polyamorous is, um, but don't you get jealous? You know, and for me, I don't. Right, like if I'm with a partner and she has other partners, I don't have any feelings of jealousy towards them at all because I I know that there's what I give and what I can give, and I know that those other partners are fulfilling other needs that I can't, and I'm okay being in that place. It's not. I don't feel inadequate. I don't feel like I'm less than. I don't feel like I'm second rate or second tier or whatever. And I think for a lot of monogamous relationships and monogamous people, which is the majority of our population, that's not the case. Jealousy is a big thing, like, and also the desire for exclusivity. Yeah. Um, so for me, I feel very free now because um, I don't I don't feel a need to hide or to sugarcoat or to pretend I'm in something that I'm not. And so it has meant that some relationships that I was pursuing ended right there and then because you know uh, the other person was like, I can't do that. I can't be in that kind of a relationship dynamic. That's not for me, and that's fine, right? So um, you you part ways very quickly, and you're not wasting each other's time. Yeah.
So when we were courting, I guess when our relationship moved to engagement phase and all of that, and then into marriage,
Mm.
when did you start having other emotional or intimate partners?
I think I would say um, hmm,
If I were to guess,
mhm.
I would say maybe after Amani was born or before.
Yeah.
After,
I
but
would
before the second one,
possibly, yeah.
because my intuition is right.
However, um, again, kind of like just before, uh, during the just like in the previous purge, right? Purge. I did do a purge again, um, because after between Amani and Zolani, there was a period again where I was starting to entertain other women, and I stopped. I stopped it, and I think I went through another phase of, delete, 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 press delete. But throughout it had been something that I struggled with. Without adults, it's not something
Because
I want to do.
I was like, I can't be like so naive or like my spidey senses are all the way off. Like I always like people. I'm like, I don't know how Zolani came. Like because it was just so like the relationship. It was not fluid.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
I was just like something is off, but I don't know what.
Mm.
I thought it was something else.
Mm.
I didn't realize it was this.
Mm.
Not so now, but I knew something was off. Wow. Well, there we have it. I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Well, we done unpacked today a lot. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, for me this was the first time really because diving in because when all of this was unfolding, I was just like, and you were just like polyamory, and you start talking about our ancestors. I was just like, what the hell? No, I can't entertain this madness. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, the, enough drama. Like for me, from my perspective, like everything I've gone through, and this is your solution. Like, girl, mm-mm, no. Let me just have my own break over here. You sort yourself out. I mean, I feel like it's a journey. Like probably you're navigating this new season of being out in the open and everything. Um, I'm also navigating being single again and whatever that means in this crazy world. I've never been on a dating app. No, I lied. I did eHarmony in my late 20s, maybe 26 or so. I think it's 27.
I can hear the kids. Yeah, how many existed back then?
Dinosaur
Yeah,
one. Yeah, 26, 27. I did eHarmony and I was matched with one Nigerian guy who in Cameroon they call it Olumba Alumba. I don't know what this church is. White Garment Church. Used to go to White Garment Church. And I knew exactly where that church was. That church used to creep me out. Like you go there sometimes there'd be like feathers around.
It's like a cult.
Hey, it felt like a cult. I don't know what they did in there. And then they matched me to this guy. And he was a bit kind of weird. Like, and I was like, this the best eHarmony got? They're gonna make me sit and fill this questionnaire for like 5 hours, and this is what I get? Like, seriously. And then, you meet people now and they're like, girl, you gotta get on those dating apps since that's the only way to meet people. Add COVID to the mix, right? Like, and everybody's inside, and then now fully working for myself. not even like taking the train or the bus or anything. The only place you get to meet people is like if you're going consistently to the gym or
Yeah.
like things out in the community and stuff like that. Obviously, there's ways to meet people, but the if you're doing a numbers game, it's like okay, then you want to be on the dating apps. I'm just like this is so exhausting, man. Um, yeah, it's been an interesting um, new season. Yeah, but hey, here we are, unpacking it all. I mean, I'm grateful that we had this discussion. It helped me learn more um, to just to learn more. I don't really know what to do with the knowledge I have.
It might help other people. So
Yes, I think yes. But for me, I've definitely learned more, and that concludes our session today.
yes, again.
It's part three ending. This is called the African goodbye.
Yes.
They say goodbye, then you tell another story, you walk down the street together. They say, oh, but let's walk you back to your own house. And then when you get there, you start telling another story, then you start walking back to your friend's house. And then that's African goodbye. We have talked to you today. Goodbye for the final time.
Yes.
And we'll see you on the next episode of
And
Unpacking.
peace.